The following program contains mature subject matter. Listener discretion is advised. Montreal's news talk leader, CJAD 800 presents Passion with sex therapist Dr. Lori Bettito. To reach Dr. Lori, call 514-790-0991. Star Talk, a free call on Bell Mobility, and 800-491-CJAD. Now, here's Dr. Lori.
Welcome to Passion, a show all about love, sex, and relationships. I'm Dr. Lori Bettito, clinical psychologist and sex therapist. And as usual, the lines are open no matter what topic we are talking about. If you have a question unrelated, that's okay. But if you want to join our discussion tonight, of course, you are very welcome to. 514-790-0991. You can text us at 514-800 as well. Tonight, it's our regular monthly feature, Dating Dilemmas. I'm joined by Frank Kermit, who is a dating coach, among other things. And he's the founder of franktalks.com, the author of many books on the subject of dating, understanding men and women, understanding needs, and a little bit of seduction in there and all of that. So if you are single, if you're in the dating scene and you have questions, tonight is your night. 514-790-0991. One of the things we want to focus on tonight is a little bit of a delicate issue, I'd say, for many people, and that is dating the ex of somebody close to you. Frank, I don't even know where to begin on that. Is it cool? Is it uncool?
That really depends on the friendship you have and the perspectives you take. I take a very extreme view, and that is when two people break up, they are free to date anybody they want. And if they want to date someone else within their social circle, they're free to do that. People have a right to seek out their soulmate.
Yeah, okay.
One of the things that I do when I do my dating coaching is that I get people to understand, look, when you break up with somebody, and if they start dating someone else the next day, you broke up with them. They are free to date who they want. And until you really embrace that fact, you might end up having unrealistic expectations. I deal with men and women who say to me, I can't believe they went out and dated somebody right after we broke up. Well, what do you mean you can't believe it?
Okay, but dating, but what if it's your best friend's ex? I mean, that's a delicate situation in my book.
Sure, it's a delicate situation, and in some cases, you may feel an obligation to talk to that friend, and if not get their permission, you want to at least let them know what's going on so they don't hear it through other sources. But it's important to remember that people, when they're looking to date someone, they may not necessarily be looking to date a stranger. They might want to date people they already know.
And they would have known them through that social circle.
Exactly.
Still delicate. I'd love to ask some of our listeners, first of all, have you ever wanted to date a friend's ex or maybe a family member's ex? Maybe a friend's ex has asked you out or chased you down or whatever it is. Has one of your friends ever dated your ex? And I'm also wondering if you've ever been asked permission to date the ex of your friend. I think that's a good way to go, is asking permission.
Depending. Depends.
It's always a depends, eh?
Well, sure, it's a depends, because in some cases, the person may be very possessive of their ex. And that isn't fair to the ex, and that isn't fair to the friend. If you really believe that that person is so worthwhile, continue to date them, pursue them. Don't break up every time you have a fight. Prove it. You really think this person's worthwhile? You should still be dating them. But if you're going to set them free, if you're going to try to play mind games, well, I'm going to break up with you and now that's it, you got to expect that the other person is going to move on with their life, and rightly so.
Right. I guess it's who you move on with. I mean, I've seen situations, interestingly enough, where you have two couples that were friends and in the end they ended up swapping partners, not in a swinging kind of way, but literally, actually one had an affair with one and then they ended up together and then that one ended up with that one and they were all family. That was I think the hardest part. And it just ripped apart the family.
Well, there you're dealing with an infidelity. You're dealing with lying. You're dealing with a break of trust. What we're looking at here as well is what happens when you have a legitimate breakup between two people and one of them wants to date the friend of their ex. And this is what's going to happen. When people have affairs, they don't necessarily look for a complete stranger who's completely out of their circle. Sometimes they're going to have an affair with the closest person available.
I know, but I'm thinking of a situation. Let's say you are with somebody, you divorce them. It's not the prettiest of divorces. Now that person starts to date. And this I know somebody who got divorced and then married her ex-husband's brother. And they don't talk to the rest of the family. Like they just, it was split apart. It was really quite nasty and very difficult. But they've been together for like 30 years. They're very happy that they chose that over, the family mess kind of thing and staying away from that. But still, when does it ever turn out really well?
Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. We don't know what the dynamic was within that family to begin with. The family may have now split and people may have stopped talking because of this one incident.
Right.
But the one incident might have been the final incident in a string of what could be dysfunctional behaviors. So that family breakdown was inevitable or could have been inevitable. That's what we don't know. I know someone who's in exactly the same situation. She wanted to marry brother number one, but he was too shy to ever make a move. She figured she can't have brother number one, so she married brother number two.
No way.
Well, brother number two turned out to be very abusive.
Oh.
And after a number of years of being in an abusive relationship, that relationship ended, and she finally said, well, I'm going to go out with brother number one. He's the one I wanted initially, and he was a nice guy. And she ended up with brother number one, and they had a very happy relationship. And, of course, it caused tension in the family, and
Sure.
Christmas was never the same in the household. But the fact is that she probably was happier with brother number one anyway. And it's unfortunate that brother one and brother two were related and that's how she met them. But everybody is somebody's ex. And if you have the opportunity to find happiness with someone, go for it. Because one of my philosophies is that in 10 years from now, chances are all the really good friends you have right now aren't going to be a major factor in your life 10 years from now. Very few of the friends that you're going to have 10 years from now are in your life right now.
Right.
Your family's going to be your number one priority. If you have children, they're going to be your number one priority. And when, let's say, times are tough, we're going through some economic hard times now, people think of their family first, not their friends.
Right.
So at some point, your best friends at some point are going to have to make a choice between you and the people that they're building a life with and taking care of.
Right.
So let's keep friendship in perspective.
Yeah, that's true. It's an interesting way of looking at it, that perspective. We just think of the, oh my goodness, what have I done to this friendship? So I guess we'll talk about that, what the value of that friendship is versus the potential for romance, because we don't know when it starts off if that's going to be the one. You're listening to Dating Dilemmas. Would love to hear your thoughts if you've ever dated the ex of a best friend or a family member. We'd love to hear how that turned out for you. Give us a call at 514-790-0991. You're listening to Passion on CJAD 800.
From Loser to Seducer is the story of Frank B. Kermit. This book marks the triumph of a nice guy over most of his inner demons. This includes going from being a loser to managing 5 lovers at the same time, his first Valentine's date with 2 women at the same time, and getting back the one that got away. Want to learn how you can change your life? Buy this book at franktalks.com.